Well, who doesn't love a good cherry fragrance? It's the cherry on top, right? When you wear a gorgeous cherry fragrance after you get dressed up, nice for the day. Yes, it is. I personally love cherry fragrances. I cannot get enough of it. Turns out my husband loves cherry fragrances on me. Every time I wear a cherry fragrance, I get a compliment from him, and he thinks he's not partial to cherry fragrances, but he is. So I have accumulated quite a few cherry fragrances. I've realized of all the notes, cherry is one of the notes that I have a lot of fragrances for. You know, like I have a lot of fragrances with cherry note. So I thought I would review them. Really good cherry fragrances and ones that you can skip, in my experience from what I've accumulated in this video. Hi my lovely people, welcome back to another fabulous fragrance video. I've got the mother load of cherry fragrances for you. Okay, so I am going to start with the cherry fragrances I absolutely adore, starting with a brand new release that I have been dying to talk to you about. It's of course the new YSL, the Yves Saint Laurent Black Opium Cherry Fragrance, of course. So I'll start with that. It's right here in my little Sephora bag. I got this I would say 3-4 days ago. Yeah, last weekend pretty much. So yeah, I have it right here. This is the Black Opium Eau de Parfum over Red is what it's called. So yeah, this is the new Black Opium cherry version, cherry flanker. I love this little red bottle. Actually, I meant to get the 1.7 fluid ounce, and turns out when I asked for the smaller one, when I said smaller one, I meant 1.7, and it looks like the sales associate put the 1 ounce bottle in my bag. It's actually really gorgeous, like red. I don't think the camera is picking up the beautiful red. By the way, you guys, did I show you? Do you love my cherry earrings? Isn't that cute? These are cherry earrings, you guys. I can list them in the description box for you guys. I love them. I think they're so much fun. Even though they don't really go with this outfit, I wanted to wear them today because I need to get some kind of fun cherry kind of top to go with these earrings, or like just like a cherry dress, like a cherry colored dress. This one is more of a, you know, it's not the exact proper match for it, but I wanted to wear them anyway for this video. Aren't they cute? I think they're so cute and so much fun. But anyway, this one, you guys, it is a sweet fragrance. Let me start with that. So I'm going to spray this one on my skin since this is the new release that I really wanted to review for you guys. I have worn this, by the way, a couple of days, but not a lot of experience with it yet. This one, I will say right from the get-go, when you first spray it, it's quite strong, and yes, you do smell the cherry, but it is also very, very sweet. I smell quite a bit of sweet vanilla. I smell a lot of vanilla with that cherry note. I smell a very nice sort of ripe black cherry type of note, but mostly what I smell in here is that cherry and vanilla. Of course, there is the, you know, like the jasmine and the coffee, just like the other Black Opium fragrances. But the star really is the combination of cherry and vanilla, really. It's a cherry vanilla fragrance right away. There's a hint of coffee, yes. But it's the cherry and vanilla that really shines. And I'm very glad that the patchouli, the tiny tad bit of patchouli in this fragrance is not coming through too much at all. I mean, you can barely tell if it's even there, you know. The floral notes are right there in the background, like jasmine. It's mostly a very sweet, crowd pleasing cherry vanilla fragrance. Yes, I do smell the cherry, but I will also note here that cherry comes through with that vanilla very sweet, so you can almost not smell the cherry separate from the vanilla, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So some people might think that there is no cherry in here at all, because what they're smelling is that cherry hint that's on top of the vanilla. It's mainly the vanilla sweetness you smell, but I personally think there's enough cherry that I can smell in here. And yes, it's a beautiful fragrance. I actually sprayed it on and my husband likes it too. Turns out he likes almost each and every cherry fragrance that I love from my collection. There are a few duds. I will get to them here in a second, but most of my cherry fragrances I absolutely love. And this new one is, what do you call it? Black Opium Eau de Parfum Over Red is good. I just wish I had the 1.7 fluid ounce bottle. I don't know why she gave me the 1 ounce bottle. Now I have to talk about my favorite cherries first before I get to, like, you know, other cherries. I have some more new cherry fragrances here, but I really want to talk about these that I just absolutely adore, and they're the most innovative and different cherry fragrances ever. They're not your usual cherry almond. By the way, I do give YSL kudos for not making this your typical cherry almond combination. Although I do smell a tiny tad bit of nuttiness in here, which I'm sure is the almond hint that you get in the actual cherry note. So the cherry note is a synthetic note, by the way, you guys. Did I do my usual, you know, explanation of the note? So cherry note is really a synthetic or a fantasy note. So when you make the cherry note, like the synthetic cherry note naturally has an almond nuance to it, which is why you get a lot of perfume houses mixing cherry with almond to enhance that, so or bring out that almond note in the cherry note. I mean, almond aspect of the cherry note, you know what I mean? Because it complements cherry really well. So everybody kind of goes there with the cherry fragrances. They really amp up the almond by adding another almond note to it. I will give kudos to YSL because I'm so tired of the cherry almond thing. This is not your cherry almond. This is more of a cherry vanilla. Now these two right here, these are the most innovative cherry fragrances, period. This is from Room 1015. This is Cherry Punk and this is Cherry Punk Extrait. The only difference to me between these two is the fact that this one is kind of cherry punk on steroids. Very amped up. This one, as if this needed help, this is already amped up, I'm telling you. So cherry punk is really a beautiful, I'm not gonna spray this one, I really don't have to. This is really the cherry leather combination. Yes, there's a little almond hint from that natural almond nuance that you get in the cherry note, but I don't think they've added a separate almond note in here. This has the most sexy, luxurious, edgy cherry leather combination. This is inspired by punk rock kind of chick, you know, like the painted denim jacket wearing, like leather pant wearing punk rock chick. And I think it's also inspired by like the Vivienne Westwood storefront, you know, the whole like sort of punk rock kind of vibe. It's made to be a very edgy cherry fragrance. My husband absolutely loves this, thinks it's very sexy, very edgy. If you didn't see him rating his favorite perfumes from my collection, I will link that video down below. He mentioned this one. This is one of his favorites. So yeah, this is a gorgeous cherry leather fragrance, very sexy. If you want something like really different, you want to stand out from the crowd, you want to be that edgy, fashionable girl, that's the one for you, girl or boy. I mean, these are unisex fragrances, by the way, but I will say they smell probably better on women. And this one, Room 1015 Cherry Punk Extrait, this one to me, I feel like The only difference is that the leather is stronger in here, and so is the cherry. Essentially, it's an amped up version. My husband says that he smells the leather here more than the cherry, and I feel like I've smelled both still. But it's definitely a stronger version, even stronger, I should say. This is quite strong. This projects well, lasts for a long time. This one, same thing. You don't have to spray it again once you spray it in the morning or afternoon. I would consider these two more of evening fragrances. What I'm trying to say is, once you spray it, that's it. You don't have to spray it again. And by the way, did I also mention that cherry note is mainly best for cold weather? They perform the best and smell the best in cool to cold weather, which is basically from fall to spring, right? Summertime isn't the best for this type of fragrances. It's too hot, too sticky. Cherry is one of those, you know, notes that really shine in the crisp, cool, cold weather. All right, so, oh, by the way, did I even mention these? I have discount codes for you guys. It's like AFF Cleo _ 10 or something. I can't remember. It's a new code. It's not Cleo 10 anymore. I will list and link them, all these fragrances, down in the description box. You know, when you see the screen like this, there are 3 dots right underneath the screen. When you click on it, it'll unroll. That's the description box. It'll all be in there for you. You can get a good discount, and you can order it right from the Room 1015 website, which is in Paris, France, but they do ship, I believe, worldwide. Definitely to the US and Canada and the European Union. You get free shipping too, I believe. Okay, so I have 3 other really good cherry fragrances that we all know about. These aren't the new ones. I actually have a new one here I want to talk to you about next. But let me talk about these 2 and get them out of the way. This is basically what got the whole cherry craze started. This is Tom Ford Lost Cherry. Gotta love his crazy names. This one is what got the cherry train started. This is that beautiful boozy cherry almond combination. This is the original cherry almond. There's a bit of booziness in here. I think there's brandy or cognac or something. There's cherry and a whole bunch of amazing notes. There's even pearl balsam in here, so it's a little balsamic. It's got that almond. It's absolutely divine. Absolutely love this. There is a slight bit of a performance problem, but it has been remedied by the 2 new releases that Tom Ford came out with, especially this one, Cherry Smoke. So Cherry Smoke has better performance, lasts longer, and project better. What I do in the winter and fall, or fall and winter, I layer these 2 together, so it kind of remedies the performance issue with this one. Technically, Lost Cherry you could wear all year round, but I really say, you guys, cherry perfumes really do shine in cold weather. And this cherry right here, this is the most beautiful one out of the 3. This is Electric Cherry. This is my husband's favorite. He goes gaga for this. He loves it on me. It does something to him anyways. This one smells more like a cherry blossom fragrance, because the cherry in here is a sour cherry, and there's like musk in here and some citrus notes in here that basically, this is lighter, that make it lighter, and it's more suitable for spring, okay? And really complements like that sakura, you know, which is cherry blossom time of the year, which is like March, you know. Perfect for spring. It's absolutely stunning. Very, very, very sexy. My husband loves it. A lot of men love it, believe me. So yeah, now here is a new cherry fragrance that I really don't think I did justice for. So sometimes, you guys, you review a fragrance and you've only worn it, I don't know, you know, handful of times when you first review it, when you first get it. And then you, over time, you wear it and you really start to really know a fragrance when you wear it a lot, you know, many times over and over again. Now I'm talking about Cherry Oud by Guerlain. You guys, this one, my first impressions of this, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Let me put it that way. I thought that while the cherry note in here is unmistakable, it's very strong, it gives you that really nice sweet cherry note that you really crave, but I felt like the oud note in here almost overpowered the cherry note, because the oud is quite strong in here too, but maybe not like too uber strong, but oud is like neck and neck, I thought. But you know guys, I wore this quite a few times this winter. I really did, and I gotta tell you, I have fallen in love with this one. You know, you can't really beat Guerlain when it comes to, you know, the DNA. They have the best DNA. They make the best fragrances, almost like, really, I am addicted to them. I have been ordering, you know, the discontinued older bee bottle fragrances from various collections. You know, I got another one. It just arrived today. I can't wait to share with you in my next video. Anyway, this one, Cherry Oud, or yeah, Cherry Oud. This is not, the oud is not, yeah, the oud is there quite nicely, but the cherry is quite prominent. And I wore this the other day and I was getting just whoof, like whiffs of this fragrance. I mean, talk about projection. This one, I wore it on very like super cold snowy days, which by the way, cherry fragrances like this are like perfect for those types of days, you know, when the weather is like really like the, you know, the middle of winter with like 3 feet of snow, you know, you guys. And it was really cold that day, and this was just, I was getting whiffs of it. I mean, it can stand up to the cold winter weather like there's no other. And I was getting this sweet cherry a lot more than I thought I got it before. Yes, you can smell the oud. Yes, there's that oriental touch, but it's also very, very much an innovative cherry fragrance with a big bucket of cherry. Also, I love how sexy this is. It's actually what moderates the cherry in this fragrance. I think that the sharpness of cherry is kind of tied with the leather. So there's a leather note in here, where whenever you get leather, you guys, in fragrances, it's absolutely stunning. But it's a different kind of leather than it is in here. So in here, it's very obvious it's cherry and leather, because there's no oud in here either. Whereas this one, you have leather and oud. It's well blended, so they kind of balance each other out. I mean, oud and leather. So it's not too oudy and not too leathery, like almost like this just strength that it lifts up this sweet cherry note, if you will. So it's just a very strong, super beautiful, sweet cherry fragrance. I gotta say, it's very sweet too, and I love that in this case. It's got a little bit of, I think maybe a tad bit of rose and a bit of smokiness, but it's really that cherry and the leather and oud combo that really works in this. It smells absolutely gorgeous. I want to talk about all the cherry fragrances that I absolutely love first, and then get into the cherry fragrance that are not, you know, so great. So my final, I think, cherry fragrance that I absolutely positively love is this one. So the ones that I already talked about, these are my top favorite cherry fragrances. And here is my last top favorite. This one is Boadicea, the Victoria's Bodacious. You guys, this is another boozy gourmand cherry fragrance with that almond nuance. This has got loads of, you know, floral notes like jasmine as well. There's a floral touch to this. There's the booziness in this, again from cognac or brandy or something. And the cherry note is very prominent. And then, yes, there is an almond note as well. Somehow it is different, though, from Lost Cherry. They smell different. You know what? I'm going to try to tell you what the difference is by spraying them on my skin. This one, the Boadicea, which is sprayed over here, is a lot more nutty. There's a very like strong nutty note. May not even just be the almond, you guys. Almost feel like there's like another sweet gourmand note in here, maybe like caramel, but not too prominent. Whereas here, I smell, you know, the booziness is almost equal in both, but the Lost Cherry, you guys, has more floral notes, I feel like, and it has a balance, a very balanced composition where it's equally balanced between boozy, cherry, nutty, and floral, okay? And balsamic. That little pearl balsam is very beautiful. Honestly, personally, I love Lost Cherry more than the Bodacious, but Bodacious is more like nutty to me, even more boozy. And I smell a lot of tonka bean in here. I think that's the difference. Tonka bean is a little bit more of a smoky vanilla, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the vanilla in here is a little bit more sweet vanilla, or regular vanilla, you know? I love them. Those are these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fragrances. The first 8. Those are my top cherry fragrances. Okay, now for the ones that are, you know, that are good, but they're not, you know, the top ones for me. Now this one right here, this is a new one by Dolce & Gabbana. This is, what is this called? Q. Okay, so I love the bottle, by the way. This one is a very light, almost like hard to pick up kind of cherry. Let me spray this a little bit. Like, for example, I can't smell it right out of the atomizer. This is got a big amount of alcohol right away in the opening, which I never love, you know. That's the difference between a luxury fragrance from a privé line of a designer or niche as opposed to the regular designer stuff. Anyway, this one gives me more citrus, more other than cherry, like, you know, like more other notes than cherry. This has a really beautiful blood orange note, and that's one of the things I do love about this fragrance, a nice juicy blood orange note. But the other citruses and the blood orange, I feel like overpower the cherry in here, and I can barely smell the cherry and the heliotrope in here. Heliotrope has a bit of an almond nuance as well. And the musk is a lot of musk. There's a lot of musk as well. I feel like the cherry got a little bit, you know, hidden. It's not as strong. If they had amped up the cherry note in here, it would have been a winner. And the performance is not great. Like I said, I just sprayed it. It was mostly alcohol, and it doesn't really last very long at all, you guys. The projection isn't amazing either. Let me talk about this one. This is the Kayali Love Fest Burning Cherry 48. This one is a nice cherry fragrance, but you guys, it's your regular old cherry almond combination. Nothing innovative about it. And also the performance isn't amazing. It lasts for about like maybe 3 hours, but then you have to respray. I mean, it dries down, and okay, let me take it back. So it does last technically, because after about 2 hours it sits closer to the skin and is there for like 8 hours plus, but at skin level, like on this, you know, close to skin. The projection is what it, I think, lacks in, or that strong lasting power, right? This one has Sao Palmetto or something, like this smoky woody note, which I think is the one unique thing about this. This is why it's called Burning Cherry. I think Burning Cherry is also a note that is a little bit of a, like a smoky cherry, you know, burnt type of cherry. There are various other notes in here. I'm not going to get into all that, but it is your typical cherry almond fragrance with a bit of a woody, heightened woody, burnt kind of like smell to it. It's good, but is it the best cherry fragrance I've ever smelled? Not really. The performance isn't great, which is a problem with a lot of, I gotta say, a lot of the Kayali fragrances. Performance can be a problem. And here's another one that everybody is nuts about, but I like it, but it's not like my top cherry fragrance. This is Rouge Smoking by BDK Parfum. This one has a bit of a light cherry note in the opening. I will say this, I prefer to wear this in spring as opposed to the cold months, like, you know, middle of winter, because this is not the best performing fragrance, and just the lighter sort of sour type cherry in here is more suited for a spring kind of weather wear. I know this has a lot of heliotrope, which has that almond nuance, which complements the almond nuance in cherry, but it also gives it a bit of like a cola vibe, which heliotrope tends to have. I know people have referenced this, talked about how this has a bit of a cola vibe. I get what they mean, but not necessarily exactly a cola vibe. It has loads of tonka bean. It's like a more tonka beany vanilla scent that you get from it, and yeah, it's a lighter side cherry fragrance that I think is more suitable for spring. It's not my top cherry, but it's good. And then I'll keep the really bad cherry ones to the end. Oh, here's one that is not bad. I actually like this, but I wanted to, it's not my top ones. I'll tell you what the reason for it is, but you know I'm crazy about La Nuit Classeur line fragrances, no matter what it is. This is beautiful. It is very sweet and floral and cherry and all that stuff, but however, the rose note in here is almost as strong, if not stronger, than the cherry note in here. So you smell the rose, and the other, I smell other juicy fruity notes, some kind of either raspberry or some sort of, I swear I smell like a juicy raspberry type of berry note, and that's overpowering cherry a little bit too. I wish they let the cherry be more of a shining star, like a center of the composition in this. You smell the fruity, juicy berry notes and the rose almost more than the cherry note in here, and for that reason it's not one of my top cherry fragrances, but I still love it. By the way, did I even tell you what this is? This is La Nuit Classeur Intense, and it does have a bit of an almond nuance from, I think they did add a little bit of almond, but it's not too noticeable. Okay, and then I'm moving into now more cherry fragrances that I'm not hugely in love with. Okay, so this one right here, this is Prada Candy Gloss. This is also I would classify this to be also did I spray anything on this hand on the back? No, I didn't. Okay, let me spray it there. This is also one of those light spring type cherry fragrances, and it smells more like cherry blossom than cherry, okay? This has got loads of floral notes and other fruity notes other than cherry. I'm smelling some other juicy fruity notes in here too. And it's mainly almost like a sour cherry that's lighter and floral. Yeah, I think it's like peach note in here. There's a peach note and other juicy fruity notes. There's some cassis, some rose, some orange blossom type of floral notes, some heliotrope, and some vanilla. Again, it's a lighter, more springtime cherry than it is a cold weather, winter, fall type of cherry. Okay, so those are actually also still ones that I love. And here's the last one I still kind of love. The other ones, I'm not in love so much, you guys. Here's Feve Delicieuse. This is more of a gourmand fragrance that's very complex. This has like a lot of notes. It has chocolate, it has cherry. I mean, like a long list of notes in here. It's got like, I think caramel, even like tonka bean and vanilla and leather and praline and like a whole bunch of notes, you guys. There is a cherry note. It's not too prominent. Yes, you can smell it a little bit, but I wouldn't call this a cherry dominant fragrance per se. So for that reason, I'm not listing it high or calling it one of my top favorite cherry fragrances. So here's one of the discontinued ones. So I'm now getting into the either discontinued or I don't like cherry fragrances. Okay, so this one is more discontinued that I don't like. Let me spray maybe on my sleeve here. It's just too strong. I mean, there are some people, this is not bad, you guys. It's actually more of a spicy, warm cherry, if that makes sense. It's a very like spicy cherry, and it's got a lot of patchouli. So this is your warm spice and patchouli cherry fragrance. So you can smell that very strong patchouli earthiness with spices in here and the cherry on top of that. So it's a very sort of spicy patchouli earthy cherry, which is different from any of the cherries that I mentioned, which in that sense, this is very unique. Did I tell you what this is? This is MAC Lady Danger. A lot of people love it, especially if you like patchouli, you will like this because it's a very innovative, different type of cherry that is more of a earthy, spicy cherry, you know what I'm saying? This has got a nice, I think it's tangerine or some sort of nice citrus note. It's got some black amber, if I'm not mistaken, and some beautiful floral notes like some kind of lily and jasmine. It's got patchouli, and you can smell the patchouli. Okay, so it's a different, it's not your typical cherry almond, which I give it kudos for. It's your earthy, spicy cherry. There are some warm spices that are really like warm in here. I'm gonna say that it's I feel like it's like nutmeg and cinnamon type of spices. Okay, so yeah, it's a very different kind of earthy patchouli cherry. Okay, not my top cherry fragrance, but I do give it points for being unique and different from any other cherry fragrance here on my table. Then we have this one. This is Bodacious by Afnan. It is a gourmand sweet sort of cherry. This has like praline and a bunch of stuff that are in here with the cherry note. Yeah, you can smell the sweet fruity notes. That's, I think, raspberry type of, you know, juicy berry notes, and then there's praline. You get the idea. It's like a more chocolatey, fruity cherry fragrance. It's not like a super cherry star of like a very cherry fragrance either. A lot of the gourmand notes like praline kind of take over in it. So for that reason, it's not one of my top cherry fragrances. And here's one I don't like. This is Mansara Wild Cherry. This one is, oh my God, it is headache inducingly strong. Oh my goodness. This has the sharp citrus notes. I don't know why they did that. They killed the cherry vibe because of all those sharp, contrasting, almost synthetic smelling citrus notes. And then on top of the citruses, they added a bunch of powdery notes. Like, it's super powdered. There's orris root, which is iris root, so it's very powdery, and heliotrope, which is also powdery and kind of nutty, which also complements the cherry nuance in the cherry note. It's got patchouli, which adds another earthy element to it, but it's that contrast or clash. It's more than a contrast. Contrast actually is a nice thing, but the clash between the super powderiness and the super citrusiness and the cherry, it didn't work out. They're fighting each other instead of working harmoniously. I feel like the powdery notes, you know, got ruined by the overly citrus notes, and then both of them got together and buried the cherry note. You know what I'm saying? It is like it can't decide what it wants to be. Does it want to be a powdery fragrance? Does it want to be a citrusy fragrance? Does it want to be a cherry fragrance? Okay, and it has other notes, of course, like, you know, other floral notes like jasmine, a little bit of vanilla, yada yada. But like, it's the clash between the powdery floral notes and that cutting citrus notes, and then the cherry. It's really the citrus notes that ruined it. I think if they made this a powdery cherry fragrance, just with the powdery floral notes, it would have worked. I think they threw in too much citrus that is cutting through everything and just kind of ruin the fragrance. And then I have three last few left here. This one's discontinued, which is why it's at the very end. This is a very synthetic smelling cherry fragrance. This is by Cartier, you guys. This one is a discontinued Cartier fragrance. It's a Delice something. This also has a similar problem to the wild cherry. This has some, like, you know, other notes that are competing a little bit with the cherry note. Although the cherry note is apparent, but there is like a citrus note, some floral notes that are sort of competing with the cherry in here instead of like working with it. But it's still a beautiful, I mean, I like it. I don't dislike it. Whereas I really don't like this one. This one I like, but it's discontinued, and also it's not, probably not the top cherry, you know, that you would want. Yeah, it has a unique kind of like a floral, almost like a violet-y floral note with the cherry and the vanilla in the base with tonka bean. Okay, then we have the Banana Republic Dark Cherry and Amber. This one smells more like the praline note and the, I think the saffron or something, no, ambroxan. One of those notes that you get in Baccarat Rouge 540 is in here, that gave it a little bit of that Baccarat Rouge 540 vibe on top of the cherry here. The cherry is not really the star of this perfume, I wouldn't say, and it's a little too alcohol-y to my taste. The alcohol in the opening is too much, which buries like all the cherry and other notes. You kind of have to wait a while for it to dry down so you can actually smell the notes in here. I think this is more floral than cherry, and also it's got that praline and the whatever the note that is giving it that Baccarat Rouge 540 type of vibe. Not my favorite. It's not strong, doesn't last very long, doesn't project very much. Lastly, the one I hate the most, I don't like this fragrance, which is weird because this is my favorite fragrance house from which I have the most number of fragrances. It's Kilian Back to Black. This one is very kind of smoky and too honeyed. There's too much honey in here. There's tobacco in here, which I don't love. And I don't smell the cherry very strongly. It's got like too much going on, you guys. It's got tobacco, too much honey, earthy stuff, spices like patchouli, and gosh, like it's got too much going on, and the cherry is kind of buried, and you really have to kind of like smell to get to it. Very busy, very strong, very sticky, very dense fragrance that leans masculine, if you ask me. Actually, it doesn't lean anything. It doesn't lean feminine or masculine. I don't know what it is. Stands in the middle, not a fan. So you guys, those are my best and worst cherry fragrances that I wanted to rate for you from my collection. Let me know down in the comment section, what are your favorite cherry fragrances? Actually, there are a couple of them that I really want to add. I think one of them is called Wet Cherry Liquor. That I really want to get that one. Let me know down in the comment section if you have it and you like it. That's one that I really want to get. And the other one I want to get is Latte de Cherry. Those are the only two that I do want to add to my collection. But if you know of any other cherry fragrances that I should, oh, actually there's one other. There is one other. Gritti has one that I want to add. What was it called? Gritti something. I forget the name now. Those three are what I really want to add to my collection. Let me know down in the comment section if you have those three, any of those three, and if you have any suggestions for other cherry fragrances that I shouldn't be missing out on. So I hope you enjoyed this video, you guys. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also don't forget to check out my brand new channel dedicated to makeup and beauty, which is Cleo Luxe Life. I will link it down in the description box. Go over there and show some support. Subscribe to the channel, help me grow that one. And of course, watch the amazing makeup content. I just uploaded a video about my top favorite makeup releases of 2023. There were a lot of makeup releases in 2023, so check that video out. My lovelies out there who love all of it, all beauty, not just fragrances. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will see you guys in my next video.